I wanted to go ahead and talk about the upcoming Leo quarter moon phase. I'm so happy this is a Leo phase. I guess we're not full circle, but we've come quarter circle since I started doing these videos. We started with the Leo full moon. Now we are at the Leo quarter moon. I put a song on my Aries playlist called Putting Ya Dine. When I first heard this song, I didn't even notice that she was saying Leo over and over and over again, but this helps put together a little puzzle piece, like why I felt compelled to put that song on the playlist, because it's very raunchy, and that's actually not my favorite, but in light of my recent topic, I feel like I in some way need, and this is the feminine need as well, like behind getting really grotesque in music and in images. Like, it's in people's brains from pornography and everything that dwells in the subconscious, in the private mind. There's no such thing. Is gonna appear out here. I mean, for a while, everything that you think and feel seems private to you while you live this life. But the reality of oneness is that simultaneously, nothing is just yours. And nothing is yours. Your body, everything is on loan. And everything is yours. Everything is all access. The material world allows the illusion of separation, the illusion of barrier, because that's how relationship can exist. That's it. That's how the one consciousness that shares all of this gets to not feel lonely. This song, Putting Ya Dine, I had to look up what that meant. Putting ya dine. I tried to figure it out. The next lyric is putting ya on. Putting ya dine. Putting ya on. Putting ya on and Leo have the connotation of, like, I don't know, bravado. Like, here's your show. The Leo spotlight, but it's actually the artist that is named Mona Leo, so that's why she repeats Leo over and over. And Putting Ya Dine is her own creation, and it's a phrase of empowerment. It's just about, like most rap songs, it is completely braggadocious and just an empowering song. And I think what a lot of people don't realize about creativity is that much of it is the transmutation of sexual energy within a person. Sometimes I wonder, like Prince, for instance, how much time would he have actually had for love, sex, and relationships, considering his output? a guy like that is transmuting so much sexual energy into creativity that like, if he were super next level genius, like, his big secret would be that he was completely abstinent. Because it's actually something I have resisted in the past however many years I've been celibate. Because it's overwhelming how much inspiration that you get when you are redirecting all of that into everything else. I mean, the sex act is it's like this entirely wasteful thing if we don't know what we're doing it for. If it's not coming from love, or we don't want children, part of this major sexual energy siphoning is the convincing of people that we need this thing. We don't. We could have such a beautiful, cool, creative, colorful world. But instead, we are wasting ourselves away. Just all the grotesque noises, macaroni and cheese stirring. I mean, it's been reduced to spectacle. And part of me is a little relieved by it, because I think the evolving human psyche could not go any further without fully unleashing perversion. Like, we were not going to come to a correct understanding of sexual energy without all the private islands of corruption that erupt in secrecy that do the most damage. We're most damaged behind closed doors, and then they want us to go to therapy behind another closed door to talk about it. I think that's just another layer of abuse at this point. If you have some kind of story, you deserve to tell it however you want. And, yep, there are lots of liars out there. That's another reason I think karma should be left to handle these things, so that people don't have a social incentive to lie. Relationships are a wild, wild west. And it's I don't know if it's the worst thing or the best thing in my life, because I need relationships, but have never felt safe to be myself in them. Again, I can't not just be myself. And they tell you to be yourself. And honestly, it's not worked for me. Not in relationships. And I viewed myself as the common denominator. In some kind of, like, I guess one of the main traits of a genuine non-narcissist is that they are constantly checking everything that they're doing. Like, was that narcissistic? Am I? Like, I'm constantly monitoring, like, am I the problem? And I know the times that I have been the problem, but even then, it's always that it takes two to tango. What I want to put you down, put you on. I want to empower you and anybody else to not see yourself as the big bad guy, the problem. Even if you're the person I talked about in my last video, whom I hope is just in some other far corner of the universe and will never ever see that video, and I derive no pleasure out of the concept of karma. Karma is not my kink whatsoever. My own internal storms are what have caused me to realize, like, I'm not going to be able to do the things that I want to do without being totally just open about my life and my experiences. And I'm just focusing on that worst super secret element that ruins all the wonderful things that actually have occurred and I have enjoyed. I've always been a mostly happy person, and feeling fought on that is what drives me more than anything. Even just the suggestion that happiness should not be considered or some kind of goal. It was sort of like a thought fad there in my early 20s period. Like, what was it? Toxic positivity was becoming a thing. And I've always been like, oh my God, like, God forbid we just learn to let some shit go. And I'm not talking about the big bag under the rug stuff. I'm talking about the little stuff that people get hung up on as a red herring or something, like a distraction. Like, I'm not going to look at the big, super big stuff under the rug. I'm just going to focus on all this little shit in my life and become a complete puzzle to the rest of society because I'm forcing all of my emotions into a symbol of the bigger problem. And then they're going to come up with all these mental illnesses for me and just give me drugs so that I never have to face what's under the rug. Again, I have never been insane except for when I've actually been insane. But now that makes perfect sense to me. And I've even been proud that I will allow myself to go there rather than participate in any of the normalized insanity. Putting myself in a position of power over my own perspective. Putting my dine. That's the only thing that has saved me from figuring out some way to die I don't flinch at the word suicide. It makes perfect sense that people would want to commit suicide, at least privately, at some point. And it's not something we need as some further means of like siphoning sympathy from one another. That's part of the growth process. It's very, very hard. It's very, very confusing. You are going to encounter the green lion. You will have every reason to resent people. And you will have to choose, instead, purification and forgiveness. It's the only course if you really wish to live. Part of what's going on socially right now is that people have become the green lion instead of the sun. The question must be asked, am I the green lion or the sun? The one consuming or the one being consumed? And the playful irony of my whole playlist that I made is that it's very green lion energy. It's very being consumed by resentment, which turns into greed. It's more of a warning playlist, in a way. Some of those songs, like Pussy Control. I actually love that song. It's abbreviated P Control, because I would also potentially place the word Pluto there. I guess I'm just starting to see all energies as fundamentally feminine. But there is a destroyer aspect to the feminine. And even if you look at the word God and you spell it out, generator, operator, destroyer, the destroyer aspect is Pluto. And pussy power can turn into, it's like when, and please don't get offended that I'm just gonna compare women to cattle, because this is kind of where we've been at, coming out of ages of, like, precessional ages of Taurus and Aries and then Pisces. All the world is tangible product for sale and barter, and women were one of the first, beyond like grain, to be sold and bartered, along with women for sex, men for labor. So it's the cow awakening to the fact that it's been living at a slaughter facility and revolting and just becoming the slave owner itself, like becoming the slaughterhouse owner. Victims continue the cycle by becoming the thing that victimized them. I just happened to have had this book open to this page, and I had this card pulled, and they were sitting together like this yesterday. And I was thinking about that song, P Control. And I have recognized at many times the opportunity to mine my own pain and my own fight in life for riches and fueled by righteous rage over bitches. And I mentioned yesterday that I don't experience so much anger toward men, more so sadness. A lot of my anger ends up coming, it's funny, my cat's meowing to come in and it's bugging me. And because she'll meow to get out as soon as she gets back in. Women have been my major source of anger. I have a very strong masculine side. Libra is a masculine sign. And I think women, well, every archetype has its problems. Every gender, every zodiac sign has a shadow side. And coming out of, like, awakening to the slaughterhouse for women has resulted in all the feminine shadows coming out. So we're just kind of in a shadow land, and people are, it travels just beneath the radar because all of our commercials are pop little jingles and bright colors. We're just like being, again, super infantilized to the point of like hypnosis. And when we start to raise that conscientious objector within us, there are so many forces outside ready to tell us, what are you talking about? Everything's normal. And yes, you can always find perfect peace within yourself at any time. Anytime in history, a Buddha can Buddha under any tree. That doesn't remove him from his context and his time period. And I think that's one thing we are awakening to, is the fact that maybe that's not showing up on camera. I hope not, but my mouthy kitty cat. To the extent that we are just trying to forget, we can't use enlightenment to forget. We can't use it as a drug. Enlightenment cures shame, but it does not tolerate the hiding things off into a corner, skeletons in the closet. Enlightenment is illumination of all of it. And I wanted to talk more about personal power, the power that each of us has, and the responsibility that we have to become aware of and manage that power. Like, just being born as a human gives you a power that you may not want again, because it's going to get very hard. But it is the path to the greatest joy. If we can recover from all of our exploitation, all of the ways that we hold one another back and insult and shame and tit for tat one another, instead of mend and show up for and like I've never even understood what the conflict is in so many of my relationships. I don't know if it's that I can't be around the other person or if they've decided they can't be around me. But one thing I do know is that I know too many people who can't apologize, who can't reckon with my reality, my experience of them. That is the chronic shame, which leads to the main signature of narcissism in my mind, which is inability to own up or apologize. I used to let all of that slide. Like, what do I need an apology for? It's not that big of a deal. But it is that big of a deal if you are in relationship with someone in life. You know, a cat or a dog can't apologize for shitting on your carpet. But a human has the power, and if they're not able to do that with you, they're not in relationship with you. So I think what I've ultimately realized is I just don't have relationships. My roommate and I, like, sometimes I will have one person that we have a great relationship. We're able to discuss, like, she and I can bring up what's bugging us or making us angry about one another, and we can fix it. And we have both improved a lot just knowing one another. What I can't find is anybody who's interested in looking more than 1.5 layers deep into reality. But it's a whole other thing, and I'm not going to place that on anybody. I've expected that there would be more people like me. That's it. But maybe this age of Aquarius is just, I was warned that it would be hyper fragmented, and I think so much of me on the surface didn't really believe it, because I was starting to feel all of this communion and community energy for a while, and things felt really hopeful, like for smaller community focus. And then I've just been going through this ravaging period. Like, every single one of my relationships has been challenged in ways that, I guess I've used astrology to explain it. My 12th house shoving me into my own well. Like, I got pushed into my well and left with nobody to help me out. I just have to figure it out. But it's also a blameless situation. I don't think anybody's at fault, not just because astrology, but because the main thing I realized was none of these are real relationships. And people don't have patience to develop relationship. And I thought that's what I was having, was like just spending time around people, doing jobs, doing whatever creative thing. But relationship is much more conscious. You have to actually step up and out of even what you want out of relationships, to become a witness for another person. That's real relationship. That requires a conscious wakefulness that most people don't even have. When you are accustomed to relationship being the way that you meet a need, and when you're accustomed to even compassion just being a social edict, like you have to be compassionate, like you don't have to have the love, you like, who cares, ew, people, but you have to be a good person. Like, that's the ego. If you think you can be a good person without actually loving people, that's just super fake. And loving people is work. We are not inclined to love many people right off the bat. And those that we are inclined to love right off the bat are usually glamorized or fake charmed in some way. In this just gotta charm their pants off, whore of Babylon kind of way. I don't believe that there is one whore of Babylon. I think that everything in the Bible is archetypal. And like, I think most people say Rome was what the Bible was talking about or something. Maybe. I don't know. It's archetypal. And yes, the Venus energy can be completely distorted into the glamour which beguiles. But we can't throw the babies out with the bathwaters. And I think all of the feminine and all of that which is beauty on a human being has been thrown out into this bathwater, or with this bathwater that is like glamour, beauty, vanity. Yeah, by most people's definitions, I think I've always been very vain. But I am very, very Venus. I want to enjoy my own image. I want other people to enjoy it too. I don't need to use it for any advantages, and I never have. In fact, that's my biggest problem, is that once I noticed that I had some kind of power, especially over men, I was so like, I don't even want this. Just take it. I just want to love. Why are you treating me like a bad guy? Because I have power over you. Trying to tease real personal power from this distorted power over dynamic in the social world is hard work, especially like on the level of society. And there's still so much out there that is seemingly just trying to instruct people how to like fake power. Whatever. Okay, I guess I really gotta let my cat in or she's gonna tear my door down. I'm here to empower. Period. I have no enemy. We've got shadows. Mine are still there and activated by other people's shadows. And that is the start of personal power. That is your like the gunk that the compost that becomes the beautiful flower. When you look to nature, you will understand how elementary it is to see human beings under this good or bad framework, like trying to determine, like, is that a good person or a bad person? Like, who are you? Are you a good guy or are you a bad guy? Even the person that commits a heinous act can still be the beautiful flower, still become that. That's why spiritual traditions and holy books, and that's why renunciation and even humiliation is so much a part of these things. Like anything to reduce and humble the ego. But it's still all just, they're all tools to accomplish that task. Okay. Yeah. Be happy. There are many, many, many reasons to be happy. What else did I write here? I don't even know. I'm not getting into that. I don't know what I'm talking about.